Thank you very much, Don. I always say that it's very hard to do a catch-up when Ambassador Tuga, my brother from Nigeria, has spoken, because he speaks a big game. Where I say we are 17 million Zambians, he says we are 193 million Nigerians. Where I say we have a GDP of $20 billion, he talks about $500 billion. So you can imagine, I mean, even when I try to catch up with him, like with things like hair, I am bald-headed, he's graying. So I could go on forever, but it's I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy for inviting us to this very, very important forum. I'd also like to thank those that spoke before us. I realize that people are tired now because, I mean, you've been here the whole day. So I will not, hold you to ransom and death by PowerPoint. I'll try to keep the speech as short as possible. But before I do that, I would also like to recognize my colleagues, my fellow diplomats from the Embassy of Zambia that have joined us. They could have gone home and enjoyed a cup of tea, but they are here with us. And also like to let you know that we have a delegation from Zambia which is participating at the International Tourism Bourse, ITB, which is led by the chief executive of the Zambia Tourism Agency, Mr. Felix Chaila, who is here with us, and that's about it. So, in order to begin this discussion, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of things that I can say about Zambia, but we don't have the whole day or whole evening for it. So I want to compress it a little bit to the economy. I would like to contribute it to religion, and I would like to comment also on football or soccer. Surprise, surprise, even diplomats talk about sports. The reason I have chosen these three in order to culturally summarize Zambia is we are brought together or bound together by a lot of these three major things. One of the things you may want to know about Zambia is in Africa 2012, we became, for the first time, African soccer champions. That means we beat everybody there. We had been trying to become African champions for more than 50 years. In fact, 26 years ago was one of the saddest days in the history of Zambia. In April, 26 years ago, a Buffalo transport plane, military plane, carrying the entire national team of Zambia, crashed, and 30 people perished instantaneously. They were going to play a World Cup tournament in Gabon. It was a very touching moment. There was a heavy poll in the whole country, and this united everybody in the country. It's part of the reason that I thought we should talk about religion. It is the time when you saw nobody caring about whether they were Muslim or whether they were Christians. It is a time where nobody cared whether they were coming from the opposition party or from the ruling party. Everybody was united in grief and hope for a newer day, which eventually came 26 years later, coincidentally, in the same country where the 30 perished instantaneously in Gabon. So in February 2012, traffic came to a standstill in Zambia, as you can imagine. And there is lots of stories that go around of how people celebrated and how happy they were. But I think the bottom line is that everybody was very happy. So I thought, having been burdened with Brother Tuga's $500 billion GDP and 193 million people, I thought maybe we could start by me showing you a short clip of the controversial but nail-biting final, which was played between Zambia and Cote d'Ivoire. For those of you that know soccer, you may hear when you talk about Cote d'Ivoire, you will know people like Drogba. He's a bad mother. But he was quietened by Zambia in Gabon. So let's just see, where is my gentleman friend there to help me with that? Yes. Yes, the good thing is my brother is from Spain and he loves soccer too, so he's already before you see in this clip. The game went to a finishing point and death, whatever they call it.
Hit it with power. Does he pick a corner?
Sudden death, yes.
He's trying to
but at the end, Zambia lived again.
It's Keynote, Newcastle United.
So the guys you see in this the guys you see in these copper jerseys are the guys from Ivory Coast, and the guys you will see in green are the
Can he keep his nerve? He can. Good penalty, Keynote. And it is 1-0 to Ivory.
The goalkeeper goes the wrong way. Certainly not in the corner. It's at a decent height. The goalkeeper dives the right way. See that penalty spot just starting to come up there. I'm sure that'll be in Didier Drogba's mind if he has to take one. That's what he pointed at before.
You have to suspect that he would be. Christopher Katongo now, captain of Zambia, stepping up against Boubacar Barry. We've seen off Senegal and Ghana, the other two big favourites. Can they hold their nerve here against Ivory Coast? Katongo, oh, that was cool. And it's 1-1.
Not sure what the placing of the towel was meant to signify by Barry. He's just walked up to it. It's Katongo. Make sure the goalkeeper goes one way and then just passes it in the other corner. Very cool, very calm. Here's one of the subs. Johnny Wilfred.
Vitesse Arnhem in Holland. Can he keep his cool, Bonnie Wilfried?
Anyhow, the bottom line is Zambia won the African Championship for the first time. I just wanted to wake you up a little bit. So we will go back to the yeah. Thank you to us. Yeah. It was a nail-biting game, but you know, we prevailed. Not even Nigeria could catch us. So welcome to Zambia. I would like to start by saying that Zambia is located in southern Africa. In the past, some people used to say it's landlocked because we have no direct access to the sea, but it's actually not landlocked. We have changed that around. We've put a new spin to it, and Zambia is land-linked, you know, because we are connected and surrounded by 8 countries, meaning we have a very competitive advantage in terms of doing business. Because we can trade with Namibia, with Angola, with Botswana, with Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, and they also have to pass through the country in order to take goods to another side. So it's a good thing. It's shaped like a shoe. We are in over 750,000 square kilometers, which is large, but we are still a small population of only about 17 million people, according to the last central statistic that was given out. We are looking at improving the population and making it bigger because we understand that there is strength in numbers. Like our minister from the Bahamas was saying, I mean, it's only today that I really felt that we're a bigger country because the gentleman from Bahamas, there are only 300,000 people. Yeah. The other thing you need to, yes, I think we've already touched on the population. I think one of the most interesting things that you need to know about our population is 50% of it is youthful, which means these are people 30 years and below. And this is the future market. This is the future generation that shall provide employment. This is a future generation that shall buy goods and services. So we are pretty much in a much better place than several other countries as far as the future is concerned. The economic activities of Zambia are basically surrounded around copper mining. Copper mining has been the DNA of Zambia. We have been exporting copper since pre-independence 55 years ago. But recently there has been a major push by the current president, Mr. Edgar Lungu, a lawyer by profession, who has suddenly realized what others realized before, but has decided to take steps. And what we're trying to do is to diversify as much as possible. As I speak to you today, about 1 million hectares of land has been separated or sequestered or gerrymandered in order to ensure that agricultural activities can be bolstered. In addition, there has been a couple of subsidies that are being given to the farmers in order to ensure that agriculture, which is more sustainable, more long-term, and more reliable, is improving. In fact, we are looking at soon setting up a tractor factory that should push down drastically the prices of agriculture equipment. And we believe that inherently that should also go towards increasing agriculture production. It's a major, major push right now because we realize, like everybody else, that minerals sometimes can be a wasting asset, and in the past they've actually been defined as a curse. We're also looking at ways of ensuring that we add value to the copper, which is responsible for more than 70% of our foreign currency receipts, but has lately mostly been taken out as a raw material. And I think we're trying to emulate people like Nigeria, whose Dangote is now investing billions of dollars into refining crude oil instead of exporting that which is raw in order to create jobs and reduce poverty. We are also looking at tourism, but I will not touch on that as part of the diversification because we have our own tourism guru here, Mr. Felix Chaila, who is going to tell us what they are doing in order to add value and to ensure that more people come to Zambia. Regionally, we are very competitively set, of course, because of our central location. So we are the headquarters, or rather the headquarters of the Common Market for Southern and Eastern Africa, which is a regional group, more like you would have your own European Union, is in Lusaka, Zambia. That creates jobs, and it also ensures that it shows that this country is attractive on the continent. We also have the Southern African Development Cooperation, which Zambia belongs to, and our president, Mr. Edgar Lungu, is currently the chair for the what is called the Troika, which is the Defense and Security wing of SADC, more like your EU. I think this goes to speak of how the country is attractive in terms of peace and stability. Always say that we are the last bastion of peace and democracy in the region. We have never been to war. We have never been engaged in conflict in the 55 years that Zambia has been independent. We have held democratic elections 6 times to the day. We have had 2 presidents perish in office, and elections have been held like clockwork according to the law without any disruption. In fact, there is a funny story told about our current president who gave up the position of acting president because there were squabbles in the party. The field was crowded. He was acting president when the president died, and another party came and yanked power away from him. Typically, what would have happened is you would have heard that there would have been armed conflict because he had his own center of power and the others had another center of power. But what he did is he said, I don't want to be the one to be remembered as the one that brought conflict and bloodshed to Zambia. He dumped the presidency and went to the elections and won. Now he has a clean mandate after having gone to the elections, but had given up power when typically the stereotype belief of African leadership or democracy was to fight and wrestle to hold it at any cost. The other issue you would like to know about is, unlike several other African countries, we have something unique. In 1993 or 1994 thereabout, I'll get you the exact date, one of the presidents, the second president, declared Zambia a Christian nation. But we insisted, everybody insisted that Christian nation does not mean you should exclude others. So other religions are encouraged. It's just that it's just a Christian nation by constitution because of the larger majority of about 90% of Zambians are Christians. So I said, let's put it in the constitution. Also, I think it sounds good. Protects us. Maybe that's why we haven't had any war conflict or any bloody conflicts in the past. Zambia has been accepting refugees. Zambia has an open door policies to refugees. So the central location, the peace and stability that we have enjoyed has made Zambia become very attractive to those that have been coming from conflict And lo and behold, there are lesser conflicts in Africa today than they were, say, 10 years ago. But we have played home to more than 300,000, up to 1 million since independence of refugees from Angola when it had a conflict, from Tanzania, from Ethiopia, from Sudan. Just recently, I think last year, we had an influx of about 10,000 refugees that entered Zambia instantaneously. And they are welcomed because we've got a big country, and they are able to, live side by side with everybody else. Some of them have actually become citizens of Zambia along the way. One of the interesting things that we pride ourselves is we've actually created presidents. Some of the presidents of South Africa were refugees or exiles in Zambia, or their parents were Zambian. In fact, Nelson Mandela, when he finished his 27-year stint out of Robben Island, the first African country he visited was Zambia, because the headquarters of the African National Congress was in Zambia. We were supporting the independence for the rest of the continent. The president, one of the presidents of Namibia, was also exiled in Zambia. One of the presidents of the Congo also used Zambia as a passage to get through to power. So to that extent, despite us being a relatively small country, we have been playing quite a pivotal role in regional politics. And like I said, this is supposed to be mostly an economic and cultural exchange. I just wanted to give you just a brief background of what Zambia is, our political stance, our Christian stance, our love for soccer, what makes us laugh and what makes us cry. And then for the business, for the hard stuff, I'll leave it to Mr. Chaila from the Zambia Tourism Agency. Yeah, that's it. But before I call on Mr. Chaila, and as Dawn comes in, I just wanted to let you know that if on your way out, you will find a couple of publications which we try to do some of our public diplomacy. We represent Zambia from Berlin to 6 other countries. Poland, we also do the Czech Republic, we do Hungary, we do Slovak, we do the Slovenian Republic, and you will find some of our public engagements all in what we have as a quarterly magazine, which is also available on our Zambia Embassy website, and we print hard copies, which we distribute. And also for some of you, because I cannot talk for a very long time, that may want to know a little bit more about Zambia through a political prism regarding the stability I was talking about, and the atypical issues about Zambia's peace and stability. You may get this book. It's a bestseller. I wrote it around the president of Zambia. It's available on Amazon. It may offer a sneak peek into what Zambia is, because it talks about all the 6 presidents that have been there, and it also talks about how Zambians go about resolving their conflicts by talking. They can call each other names, and then later on they're just like, we're Zambians, let's just leave, let's enjoy a cup of tea or a glass of beer and forget. So you may find all that. So I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So as is written on the slide, questions are welcome. Comments or questions? So whether you raise your hand and stand up when making a comment that wasn't a question, would be good. Okay, please.
Maybe this is a question for the gentleman speaking after you, but I wanted to ask you about the high-tech sector and high-tech opportunities in Zambia. So what is the current state of high-tech, and what do you see in the opportunities, and are there any cooperation with high-tech countries such as the United States or Canada?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my question.
All right. I think I will leave it to Mr. Chaila, but I can say that as far as high-tech is concerned, we are probably one of the countries that have encouraged growth in that sector. For instance, we were the second African country in 1994 to have the internet after South Africa. So we didn't invent the internet. And Mexico did not pay for it. Yeah, but we encourage the growth in that for quite a lot. But I will leave it to Mr. Chaila. You are right. He's more technical than I am. Yeah.
On this side?
Natasha?
Any other comments?
have a passion for your country. So do you ever miss it, or how often do you go back? Or what are the things you miss the most about being whenever you're living in Germany?
I miss the food, and I miss the sunshine. I have to drink vitamin tablets here to stay alive. Because our skins by nature feed on the sunshine for, I've forgotten, I think melanine. But above all, I mean, I love to represent, to do the best, to speak the best word we can about our country. And we have to ask for permission. Can you imagine having to ask for permission for you to go back to your country? So we have to do that. So there has to be a very good reason for you to go back, because they want you to do a full-time job representing as much as possible. But I miss the food. But you know, the people here are great too. So they have welcomed us ever since we've come in, and doors have been opened as much as possible, including business-wise. I should have mentioned that recently, due to climate change, we suffered a drastic drop in energy generation due to dropped water levels in 2015, 2016. And we finally saw that we shouldn't depend 90% on hydropower. We are trying to get into renewable energy such as sun energy and solar energy. And the Federal Republic of Germany has come in with what they're calling the Get Fit program, where they're encouraging German business and Zambian business to get together to a tune of about 100 million euros to go and invest in Zambia in the energy sector. So you can see that we are doing really good cooperation. I think next month, April, there should be a delegation, because we have been saying that, look, in order to invest, you need an atmosphere of peace and stability. Business likes to plan. And in Zambia, that's what you have as a biggest commodity, peace and stability. So there will be a group of about 23 farmers from the Africa German Business Association who are going to meet with business people that side to see whether they can invest in the agriculture sector as part of our push towards diversification. Yeah.
So on that note, let's please express our sincere gratitude to the ambassador.